Alright everyone, so we may as well get a start. There seems to be quite a few people here, so I suppose just welcome everyone to the Stratty morning tea today. It's good to see a good turnout. Obviously with the incentive of food, generally get a lot more people as well. But to start off the session, I thought I'd just give a brief outline of the session. Wrong keyboard. So we'll start off with just a brief overview, so then we'll ask Professor Andy Creswell to come and give a conference welcome. Then we'll go into more of what is Stratty, so why come to Stratty, and then Ben Hoffman is going to come in and give us a talk on his what he's presented in the past and his views about Stratty. And then the SOC will also talk about some of the practical details, and then we'll have some questions at the end. Cool. Oh, and of course, the morning tea. So there's coffee and tea at the back as well. So to start off with, I thought I'd introduce the Stratty Organising Committee. So we've been working really hard this year, and myself, Sarah, and Justin, whilst we're the executives for this year, we couldn't do it without these guys. So we have Beth, Heidi, Sarah, Fernanda, Cass, and Al's actually away, unfortunately, but he's been doing a lot of the social media side of everything, so he's really in tune with all the Facebook and Twitter and all that. So just for the next part, I'd just like to welcome Professor Andy Creswell. So you've always been a great supporter of the conference, and just before you get up, I'd just like to, good opportunity to congratulate you on behalf of the postgrads as becoming the head of school. So give a round of applause.
Slide off.
Good job.
Justin, take it off. Thanks, Matt, and thanks, Justin. So, yeah, I got the opportunity to say welcome to the preparations, I guess, for the Stratty conference, because hopefully there'll be an opening there as well. I'm going to try and get across as well for one of those days, at least for the conference. So it's great to have everyone involved again. And it's a really successful conference. I actually tried to work out how many years it's been going. I went back and looked in the school review document, and there it listed, in fact, postgrad Stratty conference being an important part of the school, but there was no historical perspective. But it's been going as long as I've been here, and that's 9 years now, but I think it's gone on longer than that. So maybe some historians amongst you can try and work out when it started. 13 years. Yeah. Is that an omen or not? Is this the 13 or is this the 14? Okay. I've been at bushfires on Stratty. It was interesting actually because Justin wrote me a really nice letter, in the school wants to help contribute to the funds to make it a successful conference, but already it looks like actually you're going to be well in the black, which is a very positive thing. But it made me check up on the records a little bit of how many RHD students do we actually have in HMS, and the numbers were kind of interesting because I actually went and looked at the whole university in total. Now the numbers are a bit dodgy because the records aren't really up to date for 2014, let's sort of look at 2013, but there's probably about 3,500 RHD students active. Now that's not a head count, that's this weird university number called an FSOL, which is like a full-time load. So there could be even sort of, some people are part-time, some people are overplaced, but 3,500 FSOL, which is a lot of RHD students. Actually, Steph Reed told me interesting, because he's now a dean, or he's going to be acting dean of the graduate school, and he said that actually, which is not applicable to HMS, what I'm going to say here, that less than 50% graduate, which actually Steph is an interesting number. That a lot, I think they're all in departments like engineering, and HMS has a really good track record. We hardly have anyone dropping out actually. So I was really surprised when he said it was around about 50. Anyway, the numbers were then for the faculty. If we take the new HABS faculty, and I'm sure you're all aware health's had a scalpel through it, and we now have the health and behavioural sciences and then the medical one. So in the new HABS faculty, it looks like we have close to 500 of that 3,500. Which is about right, because there's about 7 faculty, so it sort of ends up at about right. We have about 120 of that 500. So we're at about 4 or 5% of the total university total, which is pretty significant. Interesting, we're about the same size as that in health rehab sciences, so they have about the same RHD numbers, even though they're actually a bigger school in a sense with occupational therapy, physio, speech, and audiology. So we're right there, the numbers. And then actually psychology comes in there because psychology is now in our school as well, in the faculty, and they're in there with about the same numbers as us as well, about 130 RHD students. So there's a lot of scope to actually, have lots of numbers at Strategy as well. Because I mean, even though it's specific to the school here, I'm sure there are others. And I know you've actually broadened it out to look at people from Griffith University or UQ, but even within HABS, I'm sure there are students, for example, in physiotherapy. I know we've had physiotherapy students coming before. We might be able to have psychology and other stuff. Because I think the interdisciplinary nature of the Strategy conference is actually what makes it so special. And that's always a great thing for me when I go to, listen to some sociology talks or some history talks, some exercise science ones, covering the whole spectrum. So that's actually really, really good. I was also sort of going back and thinking a little bit about what I've seen in terms of when people are putting in other grant applications and CVs. And I've often seen, presentations at Strategy conferences put down on people's CVs. And that's really important because it is actually an established conference. And I think it's a good opportunity. You get to crystallise your thoughts, which is really good if you're in the early stage of your thesis, or even if you're at the end of the thesis when you're thinking about doing 3-minute thesis. So you get to crystallise your thoughts a little bit. You get to think how it relates to other disciplines as well. It gives you practice of standing up in front of people and being grilled, maybe with a few difficult questions and how to get through those. So those are all actually important parts of conferences. And I think in all your RHD studies, it's important not just to have the Strategy one, but then also to have a national or an international conference as well. And again, the school tries to support that a little bit with some possibilities of different kinds of travel funds, etc. But that's always been a very hard gig, and I'm not sure it's going to get any easier, particularly in the kind of fiscal climate where the school's really looking for opportunities for monies. But look at every opportunity you can. I know in my group, in the biomechanics group, the International Society, for example, of Biomechanics supports travel to conferences for students as well. So some of your disciplines may have that. I know ESSA has something similar and a few other conferences as well. So use this as the springboard, the platform to really polish your conference skills. I know a lot of people put their time and effort into their slide presentations. I've been amazed some years about the slide presentations. They're better than I've seen at some international conferences. So people do obviously take a lot of effort in doing this. And I'll be across there for at least one day, and I'm sure there'll be other staff members coming across as well. School is happy to support it and give it some financial contribution. It won't be a lot of money, but it's some there. But good luck with it. You've got a great committee. I'm sure they're going to do really, really well. And I'm sure, I just saw Ben come in the door, so he's got some old experience, I guess, when it comes to it, which he can get to. I can run away now, or if there's any questions, maybe I can, if there's any questions about the school support or my individual support or anything that I can add that's, either coming from the committee even. Is there anything that you've got a question about from school? No? Oh, there is one. Yeah.
Just because it's always good to ask one question.
Yeah.
What's the communication that goes to the staff about supporting the students or their students to go to the conference?
There is probably very little communication, I guess, directly, other than like for me with my students, I'd say great opportunity. I know there's flyers up on the notice board. I know all the staff members are very positive towards Strategy, but I'm not sure, in fact, if they then specifically say, "Oh, this should be an abstract you should be presenting." I think it depends a little bit on also the timing of students, basically when they start their RHDs. If they're in that first 5 or 6 months, it's kind of maybe hard to do that. Good to go anyway, but maybe nothing to present. But once you're at least at the colloquium stage and you're sort of moving through, then I think it's really important. I certainly go out with an email. Well, I know Doon has gone out with an email previously to staff saying to support the conference and to please to go over and travel. And try to maybe even do some contributions from the school to help the staff get over as well, actually for a day or 2 days. But yeah, I would be encouraging all staff to be doing that. I've never ever heard a negative from any staff member. Completely the opposite. Actually, everyone's always really, really positive, particularly those staff that have gone over and experienced it as well. Do you have keynotes organised this year?
Upcoming, yep.
Already upcoming. Okay, I might actually stay around and see what's going on. Okay, good luck with the conference, and good luck with the rest of the year as well, actually, as RHD students, and hopefully with 120 of you, there should be at least a good chunk of you also heading across to Australia, I would imagine. Okay.
All right, thanks, Andy. So the next part that we're going to go on to is what is Strategy. So I know the majority of you have probably been to Strategy before, but there's a couple of you who haven't been to Strategy. So the postgraduate conference is organised by respective members of the organising committee, and it's held at North Stradbroke Island every year over the Easter break. So the opportunity that it gives you is to network with other people within the faculty, but then we also have other universities and other faculties within UQ coming over. So it provides you an opportunity to, as Andy alluded to practice presentations that you might be coming up to, say ESSA or ACSM or international conferences, practice those, get experience, but then also have an enjoyable time getting away from here and relax for 3 days whilst also networking and practicing your presentation skills. So the next one that we're going to go on to is just a couple of changes for 2014. So online is your registration of interest. So there's a couple of changes to the form online. We've included dietary requirements on there and also which category you will be presenting in. So be careful when you do select that category you will be presenting in. That does allocate you to which award you will be going for as well. So that is online at the moment, all ready to go. So you can go fill that out as soon as you get back to your office. There's a new registration form which is on your table. So that actually registers you for the conference. So online only expresses your interest. The actual form, when you make payment, that actually registers you for the conference. And then on the form it also has award group nominations. So bear in mind they are the groups you will be nominating for in your awards. Another change is with judging. So this year we'll have a panel of judges. So that'll involve the SOC committee. And if one of us is on presenting, we will swap someone out. So there'll never be someone from the same category. So that way we make it fair and unbiased for everyone. Also on your table, we've done up a FAQ sheet, which we'll be sending out as well. It highlights any questions that you might have. Naturally, we might not have everything on there, so if you do have any questions after the presentation, let us know. But on there we have prices, dates, how to get there, and what involves the Strategy Conference and their program as well. Alright, I'm going to hand over to Beck, who's going to go through a couple more changes for this year.
Okay, so we're going to also have changes to the conference schedule this year. So last year we had, people might remember, we had an evening session on the first day. So we're cutting that out this year and just having, so both days are going to finish at 5 p.m. We're also going to have an earlier start time on day one. So instead of 9:30, which was last year, we're going to start it signing on at 9 a.m. We're also going to have interactive sessions this year, so a bit of a break in the schedule of the presentations. We're going to have a trivia session and also like an icebreaker session to get to know people that you might not know so well within from other universities and also within UQ HMS. Social media, so Matt mentioned that at the start. So this year we've got a Twitter page as well. Pinterest, Tumblr, and Google Plus, as well as a Facebook account, which was created last year. Yeah.
All right. So Sarah's going to come up and talk about why to come.
Okay. So why come to Strategy? Well, the conference is a great chance for you to practice presenting in front of a supportive and interdisciplinary community in a very relaxed environment. You get to gain some good constructive feedback from your peers on your presentation as well. The conference is also appropriate for all undergraduate and postgraduate research students. So this is from honours research or even proposal level. It's also a good chance to learn the structure of a professional conference, and it's a good chance to prepare for milestone processes. So it's a really good opportunity to prepare for your colloquium as well. There's also a good chance to prepare for national and international conferences. You also get to develop ideas in your own research area by engaging with other students and staff in similar areas as well. So if you come to the conference, you also get to learn about current research topics that are in areas outside your expertise. UQ School of Human Movement Studies RHD students who present are also eligible to get to apply for school research travel funding. And for those students who apply who allocate funds for the conference in their colloquium budget, but also applicable to get a $50 reimbursement as well. And it's important to note that this can be only applied for once during your whole colloquium. If you come to the conference, you also get to develop strong professional ties and social networks with staff and postgrads from within UQ HMS and other local and national universities. And best of all, you get to see beautiful Stradbroke Island and hopefully have a relaxing time over there. I'd like to now introduce Ben Hoffman, who's an Associate Lecturer in Motor Control of the School of Human Movement Studies, and he's going to come up and talk to us about his past experiences with Stradi. So welcome, Ben.
Cool, thanks for having me. So as Andy alluded to, I've been around a while. My first strategy was back in 2007. So I've seen a few different strategies and a few different ways of doing it, but it's definitely one of the best things about being a PhD student in School of Human Studies. It's such a wide variety of areas, going from biomechanics, motor control, exercise science, health promotion, psychology, teaching, the whole spectrum. Okay, so it's really great that we can have one single conference where everyone can get together and share ideas. Okay, and I've been invited along to talk about, not just talk about why it's so good, and which the last couple of slides have shown it, but how it sort of helped me to get through my PhD, which I've almost completed, into my staff position that I have now. The first one here that I've got written down is meeting with other students. Okay, and you might just think, what's the point of socialising or networking with other students? But it's because we all have the same issues and problems. Okay, we've got students that will come along that'll be in the first 4 weeks of their PhD, and there'll be other ones that'll be in their 3rd or 4th year. So it's a great way of sharing that experience that you've gained in your PhD, okay, and figuring out problems, about either it's photocopying or whether it's more, in terms of doing your actual research, okay, study design or that type of thing, okay, and that's helped me develop my skills as a researcher, okay, and that's helped me further my career, and I now have a number of publications to my name before I've even finished my PhD. So that networking, it can't be overstated enough. The second one here is take the presentation seriously. Okay, it is Stradi, it's a relaxed environment, and that's one of the big positives. But every time I did a presentation over there, I had my slides done before I went over. I practiced at least once in front of my research team. Okay, so that way that I was sort of putting myself into presenter mode, as if I would for a big international conference. Okay, because if you practice the way that you want to for a bigger conference, then you'll reap the benefits of it. Okay, and again, I've gone to a number of bigger conferences, both SMA in Australia as well as international conferences, and that experience at Stradi has really helped me. Okay, and also get your advisors to come along. If you've said that you're going to Stradi, tell them, look, I'm going to Stradi. Would you be able to come over for a day and watch me present? Okay, and then you can gain that feedback to become a better researcher. Because going to conferences is something that you need to put down on your resume to be able to get a job in academia. Okay, they need to see that you're going to these conferences and sharing ideas. The last thing I've got here is consider helping to organise a conference. I've organised 3 conferences over my time, and we've got our organisers up here at the front today that have put on a fantastic morning tea event. And it's something you should definitely consider. So when I went to apply for my job at UQ, the first dot point on the selection criteria was have a PhD in the relevant area. But then there was 10 or 12 other selection criteria. I'm like, what, so a PhD is not enough? And there's things like service, and this is what these guys are doing. They're organising a conference. Okay, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind that it's not essential criteria, but if you've got experience in being on a committee or organising a conference, you're going to look more favourably than someone that hasn't. Okay, so consider putting your hand up when it comes to October, and the postgrad, exec, and the organising committee, their jobs come up for availability. Consider putting your hand up to do the job. Okay, and it's a very rewarding experience as well. That's pretty much all I have for today. Is there any questions from anyone at all? I think everyone pretty much knows who I am and have heard a lot from me in the past. But if you have any questions at all about my experiences in strategy and how that's developed me as a researcher into my staff position, then feel free to get in contact with me, and I'll be happy to have a chat. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Ben. So next up we have Fernanda, who's going to talk about when the dates, registration, and everything closes.
So in this slide we have a couple of important information. First of all, booking your agenda. The conference is going to be on the 22nd to the 24th of April. And after Morning Tea, you can already go online and register your interest via our website. And also, if you want to go ahead and already do your registration is already open. The cost for UQ Present is $180. This varies will include the full conference, keynote speakers, accommodation, most meals, day trip to the beach, and the conference pack. You can see on your, if you can ask question sheet, more information about the prices. It's pretty good. It's a good value for your money for everything you got, plus all the benefits that everyone said. And it's very important to know the registration is due to next Thursday, 27th of February. So get organized the next couple of days to get your payment and registration done. Another important information about abstract submission. You can get more details about how you should format your abstract and details on our website. But also, you should submit it on before Friday 21st of March, which is more or less 1 month from now.
All right, Cassie at Stradbroke Local will be talking about how do you actually get to Stratty.
All right, so you don't need to take your car over. There's a taxi boat which you can walk onto, which leaves every hour. So they'll be leaving at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Sorry, I should say 5 minutes before that. So 6:55, 7:55, 8:55. So the one boat that most people will be catching to get there on time is the 7:55, I think. In order to get there by 9 o'clock for the conference sign-in. So if you catch the 7:55, it'll get there about 8:25, and then it's just about a 5-minute walk to get to the research centre. So there should be quite a few people on that boat, so just keep an eye out for your colleagues, so you can hang out together. But if you miss the boat, don't be too concerned. Like I said, they go every hour. To get to the research centre, it's just a short walk. So once you get off the terminal, you turn right, walk through the graveyard, through the caravan park. Try and keep the noise to a minimum, or the locals may start throwing stuff at you if you're too rowdy, especially if it's before midday. So it's about, from UQ, I'd say it's about a 50-minute drive to get down to Cleveland. So if you know a few people, it might be a good idea to try and carpool if you can, but there's plenty of car parks down at Cleveland where you can leave your car for the weekend, for the few days. Any questions for me about how to get there?
Heidi's going to speak about settling in and the structure of bedding.
So accommodation, research centre, shared bunk style accommodation, channel your inner school camp. We've got 4 to a room, so you can sort out who you'd like in your room. Maybe people that don't snore. There's some common areas there. You've got shared bathrooms. You don't need to bring your own linen, just a towel. And then you just get to turn up and have fun. That's it.
Alright, so conference day 1, as we said, we're going to start a little bit earlier, so 9 o'clock is conference sign-in, so as Kat said, 7:55 ferry over, we'll get you there on the right time. 9:30am is when the conference actually starts, so that's when we get our introduction from Andy. 10:30 to 5pm we have undergraduate, postgraduate and keynote speakers. So by 5:15 we should be finished, which means after that we're done for the day. So on day 1 is when we will have undergraduate presentations, so there's a couple in the room, so that's the day that you'll be coming over. If you are undergraduate, you just stay for that one day as well. On day 2 we start at 9am, so breakfast will be at 8am and we go through till 4:45. That'll be postgraduates and keynote speaker presentations. And then at 7pm we have our post-conference dinner. So that'll be where we had it last year at the little ship club, just down the road from the conference centre, which is about a 2-minute walk. So prices for there range between $20 to $30. Okay, so it's good food and there's a whole selection there as well. So that'll be the only meal that you have to pay for during the conference.
Can I just butt in? Sorry.
Yeah.
So I forgot to say as well, keep a spare, $12, $15 handy for the boat. You can pay for it once you get on there. It's not included in the package.
And day 3 will start at 10am, where we'll have a barbecue and conference awards at Cylinder Beach. So we'll have the bus pick us up, take us to the beach, all food will be provided on that day 3, and the bus will take us back to the ferry that afternoon. Now presentation types, we'll have 8-minute traditional presentation style, and then 2 minutes of question time, so 10 minutes all up. You will be kept to that buzzer as well, so because the conference is fairly jam-packed with the number of presentations, we have to keep it running for time. 3-minute thesis style presentation, so this might be better for people who are just starting their PhDs or undergrads, with an e-poster format, so it'll be 3 minutes and then 2 minutes of question time as well. If we do get a large number of presentations, and people wanting to come, we will also be opening up poster presentations, and they'll be judged based on your abstract submission, and we'll inform you of which one you've been allocated to. Most importantly, award group nominations. So this year we've got more awards for respective areas. So we'll have biomechanics, clinical ex-phys, dietetics and nutrition, pedagogy, physical activity, sports psychology and sports science. So with that is award nominations, just base that off where your registration form is as well. So that's how you'll be categorised and which award you'll be going for. Okay, so we do have a lot of awards and they're very good awards this year as well. So stay tuned for what they're going to be. As I was alluding to before, awards will be assessed by a panel this year, so there won't be actually any award forms to fill out, but if someone is presenting from that category, from the committee, they will be replaced with someone else, so it's all fair. Coming to the end now, don't forget, Facebook page and Twitter, YouTube, we'll be posting updates there regularly, so we won't be sending too many emails around, but only with key updates for you. But every little update, say a new sponsor or reminders, we're posting them online. So just make sure you get onto those Facebook pages and links to check them out. Stay tuned for some announcements with keynote speakers in the next couple of weeks and some other exciting news that will be coming. And most importantly, spread the word around to everyone else. So even undergrads, if you've got someone who's doing their honours, let them know as well to come over, because it is good practice, particularly if you're looking to do your PhD in the next couple of years, and everyone else who is doing masters or PhDs, to spread around to other universities and contacts that you might have. The more people we can have, the more the conference can grow in future years and continue its success. Finally, sponsors. So this year we've got a couple more sponsors on board, and we just want to thank them so far. So Sports Medicine, UQ Sport, Australian Strength Conditioning, ESSA, Alpha Sport, Nutrition Warehouse and Endura. So all these people have contributed either to awards or conference packs or funding to actually go towards the conference. So without them, we wouldn't be able to have the conference itself. So, is there any questions at all? So, yeah.
Yeah, firstly, thanks very much. It was really informative. I've been to 2 of the conferences and found them really, really good. Can I just ask about the poster thing? Is that new this year, and how's the format of the session? Are you having sessions, or are they just going to be there, or what?
So posters will only be run if we get a large number of people submitting, but if we do get a large number that we can't actually fit into the schedule, what they'll be having is they'll be spread around the room during the breaks, so at morning tea or lunchtime, and people will be free to walk around during that period. So we won't actually have an allocated time.
So if you have a poster, then will you be expected to be miss out on your morning tea, or grab your muffin and be with your poster?
Be with your poster.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Hamish?
Are our presentations going to be filmed so we can review ourselves after we've been done?
If you would like that, we will be taking cameras over and everything like that, and we will be filming some of them. So we will ask your permission beforehand, particularly because we'd like to develop some media for next year as well. So if you would like that, by all means. Any other questions? No? Alright, so just a couple of key reminders. Next Thursday, registration is due. Registration forms are on your table. Abstracts are due 21st of March. And they're the main time points for you to remember. Okay, and to spread the word, we'll be putting some big announcements online soon, so just keep tuned to that. Alright, feel free to go for the morning tea. Cass has made some protein muffins, and we've got some fruit, some carrot cake over there as well, so jump in and enjoy.